Credit rate agency Fitch says India's economy to grow at the rate of 9.5% in 2021-22. Agency exudes confidence in a sustained reduction in general government debt, says structural reforms in the key sectors of the economy. 20 lakh crore rupees economic package announced by the government to boost India's GDP growth. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Both the leaders discuss potential areas to expand cooperation in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, including research and development efforts in the fields of vaccines, therapeutics and diagnostics. Delhi Lieutenant Governor issues orders to increase transparency in COVID-19 treatment. All major hospitals to display details of availability and charges for rooms and beds, along with numbers of contact persons. Delhi Chief Minister meets Home Minister Amit Shah and discusses corona situation in the capital. Home Minister assures all cooperation. INS Shardul carrying 233 fishermen stranded in Iran scheduled to arrive at Porbandar coast today under Operation Samudra Setu. Various flights from US, Canada and Europe scheduled as part of Vande Bharat mission. The number of recoveries remain above active COVID-19 cases in India, over 1.41 lakh cured and discharged, while active cases stand at 1.37 lakh. More than 52 lakh samples tested so far. Central teams deployed in 6 cities to assist the states in COVID-19 management. COVID-19 cases across the globe continue to spiral up, with over 73.5 lakh confirmed cases worldwide. Over 34 lakh people recovered, while 4.1 lakh people succumbed to the virus. WHO chief says asymptomatic transmission of the novel coronavirus can occur, but more research needs before drawing any conclusion. And in some good news for the nation, population of the majestic Asiatic lions of Gir forest in Gujarat is up by almost 29%. Geographically, distribution area is up by 36%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds people of Gujarat and all those involved in achieving this remarkable feat. Hello, you're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. Our top story first. Fitch has released its rating overview for India. According to the rating agency, India's economy is forecast to bounce back with a sharp growth rate of 9.5% next year. Listing positives for India, Fitch Ratings said that there was greater confidence in a sustained reduction in general government debt over the medium term to a level closer to BBB peer median. Also, there is possibility of higher sustained investment and growth rates without the creation of macroeconomic imbalances, such as from successful structural reforms implementation. Also, credit rating agencies Standard & Poor's, however, projected India's growth rate at 8.5% for 2021-22. The latest report by Standard & Poor's on outlook of Indian economy suggested that GDP growth recovery will be smarter than expected. To talk more about it, our correspondent Arun Sharma is joining us. Arun, we have Fitch predicting a growth rate of 9.5% in 2021-22, and also we had Standard & Poor's predicting 8.5% GDP growth for India. Tell us what are the factors which have brought in this optimism and positivity.
That's right, Preeti. It's really a good news for Indian economy when both these rating agencies, the global rating agency, are predicting that Indian economy will bounce back, and Fitch is known to be a very aggressive rating agency. As Standard & Poor's is known to be a very aggressive rating agency when it comes to rating economies. So when Fitch says that Indian economy is likely to bounce back, the to 99.5% of GDP. So that means that India's potential is very huge in that aspect. Now, what gives confidence to rating agencies like Fitch and Standard & Poor for these kind of numbers? The number one factor that the Fitch rating agency is looking, and that is about the external finances. Now, these are resilient relative to many of our peers. If we try to compare Indian economy with various Asian peers, Indian economy is very much, able to absorb the external shock as far as the finances are concerned. The cash, primarily the reserves with the RBI, the forex reserves with the RBI are in very comfortable position. The debt to GDP ratio of Indian economy is in very comfortable position. Even though after the COVID crisis, the kind of investment or kind of incentives that the government has given to its people, that is also noteworthy when it comes to the rating of Fitch and Standard & Poor. Important aspect with you over here is about Standard & Poor. Standard & Poor has maintained its investment grade, and it has maintained that rating of Indian economy at BBB minus. Now, what does that mean? When Standard & Poor says that Indian economy is in a grade of BBB minus, that means anybody who invests, I mean, in this case, Standard & Poor is suggesting the global peers, the global economy, the global investors, that if it is very much safe to invest in India. Now, this also gives comfort to the bond market of our country, which will not rise significantly. And yes, the investment grade is very much comfortable and safe as far as Indian economy is concerned. So when Standard & Poor says it is maintaining the stable outlook for Indian economy, as far as the fiscal position is concerned, as far as the economy is concerned, it is reaffirming BBB minus long-term rating. Now, this gives enough confidence to the investor that they can come forward and even invest in the time of COVID crisis, when most of the economies in the world are facing uncertainty and volatility. Indian economy getting thumbs up and green signal from two big rating agencies globally, that is Fitch, which is known for its aggressive stance, and of course from Standard & Poor as well, which is maintaining that a stable rating, that is the BBB minus. That's an investment rating. That means any economy, any investor can invest in India. So that's the green signal from Standard & Poor that India is in very comfortable position as far as investments are concerned. So this gives enough confidence also to various investors globally to come and invest in India. And this will of course give a major push to Indian reforms like Make in India campaign, and the way government is trying to look to attract more foreign investment. So in this context, the green signal from these two rating agencies gives a lot of confidence to Indian economy at this point in time. Preeti?
All right. Yes, Arun, now both these rating agencies have appreciated and have acknowledged the structural reforms which have been put forth by the government. Added to that, the economic package of 20 lakh crore rupees, which has been introduced by the government. Now, put this on one side. Also, when we talk of the road to recovery, given the trying and testing times because of COVID-19 we are facing, when we talk of the challenges ahead for the government, how is the road ahead?
Well, talking about the road ahead, we know this fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier in the month of June addressed the CII's virtual summit. At that point in time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came out with idea of 5 I for the Atmanirbhar Bharat. He said that investors should look at 5 I's. Now, these 5 I's includes investment, inclusion, innovation, infrastructure, and intent of the government. All the I's are, very much in comfortable position as far as intent is concerned, as far as inclusion is concerned, because all the policies that government is making as of now is including everyone. It's inclusive in nature. But the only cause of concern was investment. Where will the investment come from? So when the rating agencies like Standard & Poor, they're clearly saying that Indian economy is very much well poised to absorb the external shock at the moment, where most of the economies, there can be a cascading impact of a recession or a slowdown. At this point in time, Indian economy is very well poised to absorb the external shock, and that's the reason why the investment grade is given, or that has been maintained by Standard & Poor, which is very much comfortable for Indian economy to grow at 9.5% in fiscal 21. So this gives enough confidence to the Indian economy. That means the money will come. The foreign investors are likely to come to market. Prime Minister during the CII virtual summit also said one important part, Preeti. He said that today world is looking for a trusted partner. Today world is looking for investment destination. An Indian investor or primarily Indian business community should find ways to attract these investors globally. So when a global community is, when the COVID is over and when people or investors are over with this COVID crisis, they will look for various destinations which is resilient. They look for various economies which are resilient to the external shocks, and in that context, Indian economy is poised to grow at 9.5%, and according to S&P at 8.5%. So this also gives confidence to investor. That means that when an investor is investing money in any economy, he wants he does not want a higher rate of return. He wants that his money should be saved at the moment. That's what an investor is looking at. And when Standard & Poor and Fitch, they come out with their rating, and of course when they come out with a commentary and they give a decent number of figures which says that the debt to equity ratio, the debt to GDP ratio primarily is in comfortable zone. That means whatever government is spending, it is very much in comfortable limit of the government, and it is in a position to absorb the external shocks. This gives great confidence to the investor. So when an investor is looking for various destinations where he can invest his money, India is emerging as a global destination for investment. And at the same time, when India is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, so when Atmanirbhar Bharat is an initiative by the government whereby Indian economy is not only making for itself, it is making for the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier also said that make for India, manufacturing India, and make for the world. That's the mantra given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. So in that context, Preeti, when these two rating agencies are coming out with their rating numbers and they're saying that Indian economy is poised to grow at 8.5%, that is from the S&P, and when Fitch says that Indian economy is likely to bounce back at 9.5%, that means touching just a tad below a 10% level. That means a double-digit number. So if in case the reforms continue, the inclusive nature of the reforms continue, Indian economy is likely to touch that double-digit growth number, or primarily close to that double-digit number. That's 9.5%. So that is very much likely. So when the COVID crisis is over, or post-COVID crisis, primarily when the investors are finding various destinations, Indian economy is all set to bounce back. An investor, when they're looking for various destinations as to where should we put our money, and as far as emerging markets are concerned, developing nations are concerned, where exactly we should put our money. So Indian economy is looking very attractive at the moment. And when international rating agency, when they give their number, when they give their credit rating, when they give their credit to any economy, investors also consider this point that yes, before investing, they also check the rating or the credit rating of any economy, the sovereign credit rating of any economy. So in that context, the S&P number of 8.5%, and yes, this big point is maintaining that stable outlook, maintaining that investment grade by S&P. This gives enough confidence to investor. This is one thing is for sure, that after S&P and Fitch, the investors will be very much comfortable in investing in India, and this gives a lot of push to the campaign like Atmanirbhar Bharat.
All right, Arun, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent, Arun Sharma, spelling out more details and also how important are the forecasts which have been made by Fitch and Standard & Poor's. Let's get to other news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, on Wednesday on phone. He reiterated his warm congratulations to Prime Minister Netanyahu on his recent assumption of office and expressed confidence that the India and Israel partnership would continue to flourish under Prime Minister Netanyahu's leadership and guidance. The leaders discussed the potential areas in which India and Israel could expand their cooperation in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, including research and development efforts in the field of vaccines, therapeutics and diagnostics. Both the leaders reviewed other important topics on the bilateral agenda and agreed that post-COVID world would create further avenues for mutually beneficial partnerships in many areas. The two leaders agreed to remain in regular touch to share assessments and consult each other on the emerging opportunities and challenges in the changing global scenario. Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal on Wednesday directed State Chief Secretary Vijay Dev to ensure installation of LED boards at all major Delhi hospitals to display bed availability, charges and details of persons to be contacted for admission. In his letter, the Lieutenant Governor said the Health Department Rather, he asked the health department to ensure that the LEDs are displayed, which would help in increasing transparency in the allocation of hospital beds. The Lieutenant Governor also asked the health department to ensure that the data displayed on the hospital's LEDs is same as Delhi government's app. And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal met Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday to discuss the COVID-19 situation in the national capital, which has seen a surge in cases over the last few days. The Delhi Chief Minister in a tweet said that Home Minister assured him of all cooperation in the fight against COVID-19. Earlier, Kejriwal said that Delhi will need 1.5 lakh beds in healthcare facilities by July 31st once people start coming to the city for treatment from other states. An INS Shardul carrying 233 Indians stranded in Iran is expected to arrive at Porbandar coast today. The naval ship had embarked its journey from port of Bandar Abbas in Iran on Monday evening under Operation Samudra Setu. Now, according to the defense officials, most of the evacuees are fishermen from Valsad district. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the evacuated personnel will be entrusted to the care of state authorities after reaching Porbandar. 2,874 Indians from Maldives and Sri Lanka have been evacuated by INS Jalashwa and INS Magar so far. Meanwhile, Vande Bharat mission continues to bring back stranded Indians from various countries. 3 flights carrying Indian nationals will arrive at Delhi and Hyderabad from Chicago, Atlanta and Washington in the US. Passengers expressed gratitude towards the Government of India for their safe return.
USA for about 1.5 months. Our visa got expired about 1.5 months back, so we were stranded here and we had no hope of help, and then Air India came to our rescue.
Right now we are at Washington airport and our flight towards Delhi, India leaves in about 2 hours, and we're very thankful to the Consulate General of India for providing us with this opportunity to reach our homes finally.
It's a big step by Government of India by initializing Vande Bharat mission, and we are very thankful to everyone for this help.
Thank you, Indian Embassy, for helping me so much, and now I'm able to travel to India to see my family. You guys are very responsive and very quick. Thank you so much.
Another flight under Vande Bharat mission will leave Toronto for New Delhi. Now, this is the first flight from Canada under Phase 3 of Vande Bharat mission. 3,526 people returned on Wednesday from Doha, Frankfurt, Dammam, Riyadh, Jeddah, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Salalah, Singapore, Muscat and Kuala Lumpur. The National Investigation Agency on Wednesday arrested 2 persons from Bihar and Rajasthan in connection with the alleged theft of critical electronic hardware. The hardware was installed on an under-construction indigenous aircraft carrier at the Cochin Shipyard Limited in 2019. Sumit Kumar, aged 23 years, a resident of Munger in Bihar, and Dayaram, aged 22, a native of Hanumangarh in Rajasthan, were arrested during searches. Both were arrested from their respective residences. After taking over the investigation in September last year, the NIA analyzed finger and palm prints of over 5,000 people who worked on the ship during the period. And in some more good news for the nation, after the readings and the forecast of Standard & Poor's and Fitch, the population of the majestic Asiatic lion of Gir forest in Gujarat has increased by 29% to 674. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to Twitter to share the news. Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "Two very good news. Population of the majestic Asiatic lion living in Gujarat's Gir forest is up by almost 29%. Geographically, distribution area is up by 36%. Kudos to the people of Gujarat and all those whose efforts have led to this excellent feat, he said. He further wrote, over the last several years, lion population in Gujarat has been steadily rising. Now, this is powered by community participation, emphasis on technology, wildlife healthcare, proper habitat management, and steps to minimize human-lion conflict. Hope that this positive trend continues. As per the May 2015 census, there were 523 Asiatic lions in Gir, an increase of 27% from 2010. The Poonam Avlokan, or the full moon night estimation exercise, showed that the lions population had reached 674. It was the highest growth rate recorded so far. The exercise also revealed that the area inhabited by lions has increased by 36% from 22,000 square kilometers in 2015 to 30,000 square kilometers in 2020. The exercise was carried out using direct beat verification and involved 1,400 personnel. The team relied on GPS data, identification marks and radio caller numbers to find out the estimation of the population of the big cats at Gir, which is also known as the last abode of the Asiatic lions. Union Environment Minister Prasar Bharati has said that it was conservation success after the Gujarat government announced that the population of Asiatic lions has gone up by 29% in the Gir forests. The minister tweeted, and I quote him, "Asiatic lion roars louder. Happy to note that the population of the majestic lion increased by almost 29% and distribution area is up by 36%. Multiple strategies, interventions and community participation, major contributors to the current conservation success of the Indian lions." And up next, we'll take a look at the latest update on the COVID-19 situation across the country. The number of recovered patients from COVID-19 has exceeded the number of active patients for the second consecutive day today. Health Ministry said that 1,41,028 patients have recovered and the total number of active cases is 1,37,448. The recovery rate is inching closer to 50%. That's it in this edition of the news this hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.